You're listening to The Dish Doctor, Jeff St. John, PhD.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Dish Doctor. I am Jeff St. John, and your better living starts now. I'm so incredibly thrilled once again to be joined by the incredibly beautiful, incredibly talented, always funny Sheena Metal from the Sheena Metal Experience. It is my joy to have you here. And also the legendary Ernest Thomas from What's Happening, What's Happening Now, as well as Everybody Hates Chris, who's had a tremendous career in Hollywood. We're so pleased and so just overjoyed to have you here. I'd love to hear from you, Ernest, what it was like. Little dish secret here, because everybody knows you from What's Happening and What's Happening Now, as well as current day. Yeah. Everybody Hates Chris.
Yes. I just want to say, brother, you look like the old matinee stars. The movie stars back in the day. You look like just a mega. You just have that flawless skin. I'm not trying to come on.
That's okay. You can come on to him. It's all good here.
To welcome from Brady Bunch fame, Susan Olsen. Thank you so much for being here on The Dish Doctor.
It's a pleasure.
We've got a lot of ground to cover today, and I want to jump right to it. Susan, you are known for, obviously, Brady Bunch fame, but you've also done a lot of other things as well, too. Before we get to what you're currently doing, I would love to know, with any project, there's always highs and lows. What was your high from the Brady Bunch experience? What's maybe one of your favorite memories that you just love?
Well, just being part of, I was raised on the Beatles, and being part of a group, being part of an ensemble was really a great feeling. And that camaraderie that a lot of us still have today.
So even today, you still feel like family, maybe with Florence Henderson and some of the others. Who do you keep in touch with?
I just had Chris Knight on a podcast thing that I was doing last night. I stay in touch really with the boys, Mike, Chris, Barry, mostly because they do Brady things and I do Brady things, and the two girls, Maury McCormick and Eve Plum, who played Marcia and Jan, do not want to do Brady things. I'm also in touch with Florence, and because the last time I saw her was around Christmas time, and I got to present her an award. And my son calls her Grandma Flo.
Oh, how great!
Yeah.
How great!
Of course, Robert Reed's no longer with us, neither is Ambi Davis, but I'm still in touch with Bob's daughter, who is working on a book about her father.
Terrific.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you really keep in touch with a lot of people and really keeping that family spirit alive.
Right here on LA Talk Radio.
I was starstruck. I'm just beyond. It's Jerry Jewell. Thank you so much for being here.
You are kind of starstruck.
I am. Wow. I was really tongue-tied there for a minute, trying to get Jerry Jewell from Facts of Life and Deadwood fame out of my mouth. I have to stop you right here. Two-time Emmy Award winner, producer, head of Muscat in a sex club. While adult film star Ron Jeremy is banging two other people, goes up to him and taps him and says, hey, I'd like to talk to you about a project, right? Am I hearing that right?
You're it. That's it.
As well as former child star and pop icon from 1970s Jack in the Box fame, Rodney Allen Rippey. How are you, my friend?
It's good to be here.
When you represented Jack in the Box in 1970s, that was really groundbreaking. And I'm also curious, growing up in the 70s, did you ever experience prejudice? Did somebody ever come up to you and call you the N-word?
I did experience that. I was walking down the hallway one day, and this guy just walked by me and called me the N-word. And I was like, I looked around like I was in the Twilight Zone. I said, did you just call me that? And the guy looked at me like, yeah, I said it. And I was like, come here.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel, and is it okay for somebody who's Afro-American to call another Afro-American the N-word?
There's far better things to call somebody. Call me brother. Call me friend.
Absolutely.
Call me anything. Don't do that.
When people hear The Dish Doctor, people think that this is going to be a nasty, nitty-gritty kind of show, and it's not like that at all. And let me say this and just take a personal stand here. I think anybody calling anybody any kind of racial or cultural slur is absolutely wrong in any context. What it does is it just reinforces the stigma. It reinforces reinforces the discrimination, and it also reinforces and it promotes the myth that one culture or one race is superior to the other, and that's just wrong. Today we're talking about a very serious subject. We're talking about something that affects over 140 million people worldwide. We're talking about the number one preventable killer in the U.S., and we're talking about a condition that when one is affected by it can kill one person in America every 50 minutes by DUI.
Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Dish Doctor. I'm Jeff St. John. Today, we're talking about a very important social issue that affects 1 out of 5 millennials. Those in their 20s and 30s, affectionately called the boomerang kids, those who have gone to college, received their degree, and then find it necessary, or maybe not, to move back home. Dr. Adam Mazzio, welcome to The Dish Doctor.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, you spent a little under a year after college living back at home with your mother, correct?
I did.
A college degree used to guarantee you some sort of financial stability at least, or some sort of financial wealth, but at the very least some sort of financial stability. That's not the case anymore. Even those that aren't in college, to date, research suggests that 60% or more of millennials, whether they're college grads or not, are still receiving some sort of financial support from their parents. That there are either 60% of millennials are either unemployed or underemployed. And by underemployed, meaning still working full time, but not making enough to be able to subsidize their living solo.
I'm going to say you lose that I'm a man feeling and you become more of I'm a kid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, if it was hard not to fall back into childlike roles. In other words, you mentioned earlier, I don't have to go grocery shopping anymore. I don't have to do my laundry. If in some way, on one hand, it's a pro, but on another hand, it could be a con in that you feel emasculated. What about dating? How did that work?
There's that awkwardness of walking your girlfriend out or someone you met at the bar and having your mother kind of stand there in her robe drinking her morning tea.
You're on LA Talk Radio.
For millennials that do use moving back home to live with a parent or parents as a financial plan, I think it's important to recognize that you're not a failure. This is a financial solution to a financial problem, and to be able to utilize that time and money and energy to be able to save up, to be able to move out. Was queer used to be a derogatory term, and then the LGBT, what is now the LGBTQIA community, took that term and appropriated it so it's no longer derogatory. So Q stands for both queer and questioning. So for youth who are still trying to figure out their orientation, as well as intersex, as well as asexual. And for those who don't know what asexual means that you have very low to no interest in sex. What do you feel people need to know? What do you feel the world needs to know and society at large needs to know about intersex people?
Well, I think first of all that we're nothing scary. There's nothing freaky about us.
Although it's an important issue and it's a life-defining issue to deal with, and to develop a positive sense of self around, up to 60% of intersex people live as a gender that they were not assigned. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. This is The Dish Doctor, Jeff St. John, and remember, your better living starts here.
You're listening to The Dish Doctor.